So here's my current project. I've been working on it since about the 1st of March. Um, it was originally built around 1910 or 1911, and the story goes that it was built using the logs of two houses that actually sat right down the hill from this one, and there was like a big storm or tornado or something, and it did significant damage to both of the buildings. So the people who owned the land at the time took the two apart and then moved them to this site and recreated the house you see here. So I had to take the whole thing apart. It was in terrible shape. Um, it actually sits in an area where like a bowl of the bedrock and the basement fills up with water every spring. So to fix that problem, and that basically rotted out the whole building. So to fix that, what we did, there used to be a walkout storm door here. We dug that out and then trenched from here all the way down the hill. Put in drain tiling, drain tiled the bottom cellar, and then filled the whole thing in. And then you see the stonework on top of the original basement walls. So basically it was built right at grade, and that also explained why a lot of it rotted away. So as part of that process, I am in the process of adding 3 courses of stone on the left-hand side there, and then 2 courses of stone on the right-hand side, and then everything up to that new stone will be filled in, so you won't see the original cellar walls below that. I'll show you inside here. So we filled the whole basement in with crushed rock, and the drain tiling is below. This will be vented. There's a vapor barrier right underneath this top layer of rock that'll hopefully keep the moisture from coming up through, and then there'll be little holes in the stone walls to prevent or to allow air to flow through. There was a floor system that was put in here in the 70s or 80s. I decided to keep that, but it was pretty insignificant or insubstantial. So I ended up putting a log down the middle, and then I'm just using a series of cement blocks to basically brace the middle span of the floor. So I put up 46 logs so far, and only 18 are original. Right here, these two are obviously original. These are all from a different house that I took apart. I've had to recut all the corners. I basically, found pieces with a notch of a similar size, and then I had to cut them down, so these are all the notching is new on all of these. So I ended up salvaging a building or scavenging a building that I had disassembled back in 2007. So the bottom logs, these are all white oak pieces. There are 5 of them on the bottom, and then the old replacements up above that. So on this entire wall, there's only going to be 4 logs that are original. So I think by the time I'm done, there'll be something like, I don't know, 40 to 50% of it will be original. Over on this corner here, that gnarly looking log is original, and then up on top is another original, but otherwise everything else in this whole, actually this long log across here is original, but the 2 below it are not. So these are the spares I've been working with. It's kind of a challenge finding the right log, of the right size to make it work. So what I do basically is measure out what my original dovetail was, and then find a new piece that will somewhat match it, and then finesse that original dovetail to make it work. Right here you can see the old log right in there. It's kind of questionable. I don't know. It's solid. It's oak. It'll last a long time, but it doesn't look the best. Um, so here, that floor system rests on the inside part of the stone wall, and then I ran out of stone actually, and I haven't been able to get more. But sometime this fall, I'll fill in that big gap across there. And then the inside wall, so this floor system rests right on top of the masonry walls, and then it ties into the four sill logs around. So you can see here, there's essentially a beam down there made of 4 2x6s treated pieces, and then the floor joist rests on top of that, and the plywood on top of that, and then there's a rim joist piece that's screwed into the outside log walls, and then the plywood sits on top of that. So in theory it kind of creates a diaphragm that holds the whole thing together. Right here, this was originally a door that went into addition. The addition is gone now, of course. So what I did here, essentially, it looks kind of like hell on the inside. The outside looks pretty good. But I used the original log on the left-hand side here. I didn't want to replace that one. And I used the new replacement piece over here, and then used fiberglass rebar and structural epoxy to connect the two pieces together. And then on the outside they match up really well. So we're going to whitewash the outside, so it shouldn't be a big deal. On the inside here, I'll try to flare both sides down a little bit to get them to match better. And then above that you can see new pegs. I have, I don't know, 50 pegs in this thing. New pegs so far. These are all new pegs. It's an old peg. The peg material that I use, you can see new pegs in here, and then this entire corner over here. There are new pegs throughout the whole thing. The pegs that I use, I just rip them down on the table saw. I take old oak 2x4, and then rip them down on the table saw. They're nice and dry, you know, so they shouldn't shrink much at all. And then use that nice big auger bit, and you have to hold it real well so it doesn't break your wrist, and then pound these things down with a 3-pound hammer, and then try to get the holes to line up and the spacing just right. It's a challenge sometimes. Like, oftentimes you'll realize they don't work, so then you have to sawzall them off and then drill new holes and start over. So anyway, it's about halfway up, or about a third of the way up, I guess. So hopefully this fall I'll be able to get the roof on it, and it's going to be pretty simple. No electricity, no plumbing, of course. The outside is going to be whitewashed. It's going to basically be a little primitive building. I took the original window sashes. I was able to save all of those. I had a local contractor fix them up for me. And then the Amish man who makes all the windows for me, he made new frames for them and new screens. The original front door I was able to salvage, so right here on the right and the left will be a window, and then the doorway will be in the middle there. There's a window over on this side, a window on the north side here, and then a window on the east. So